I'm Denise Gallant, and this is In the Loop, Art and Technology. And this is the fourth of our series, and today we are here with Santa Cruz World Choir and Orchestra. And over here to my left is Stephen Bigger, who's the founder and the director of the choir and orchestra, and his wife, Elizabeth, who is a soprano in the choir. And over here we have Vanessa Yearsley, and you're a soprano also.
Yes.
And I also hear a lot of the people here in the orchestra play musical instruments too. So sure. we'll get into that too, choir and orchestra. And here we have Terrell Eaton, and you sing bass, is that
yes.
it? Okay, and you play several
saxophone
instruments.
and flute.
Okay, and Michael Logue, who is a bass.
A bass.
And you have several instruments here today.
Technology geek.
Right, so Michael will bring the technology part into our art and technology discussion today. Stephen, since you're the one that founded the Santa Cruz World Choir and Orchestra, by the way, that is a big name. So what does it mean, and what was the inspiration for that?
Well, I originally came to Santa Cruz to study world music, and through a series of events, ended up working at Aptos High School, and was the theater director there for their brand new theater, and they found out that I had choral experience. And so I started working with the choir, and that's when I met Vanessa. And we decided to do world music because it was very eclectic, and you could do ancient or modern music, and it was very interesting. And so I taught there for a year, and decided that we just kind of want to do my own thing and have my own group. And so Beth and I decided to launch out and do this thing. And since I've had conducting experience and as a composer since I was very young, decided to try to pull this thing together, and got a bunch of the kids from the Aptos High School and whoever else I could find, and we put out auditions and formed the choir, and then found and hired some of the musicians for the orchestra, and just put on a concert last year at the Rio, and I guess we'll be seeing some clips from that in a little bit. And so I think, there's a lot of reasons why I wanted to do this group. One, as a composer, I had an opportunity to use the ensemble to flesh out my own compositions. But I think the one thing in my heart that was really, really key, and Vanessa's heard me say this several times, and that is I just didn't want to have to say goodbye to my friends. When you teach in school, you only have them for, I don't care whether it's high school, or college, you have them for that time, and once they're gone, they're gone. And I just that was heartbreaking to me, because I really connected with you guys, and so I thought, what the best way to do this is to sort of have an open-ended community group. Of course, we're going to lose some students, they come through the high school, now they go to college, and that sort of thing, but eventually they come back home, and they're looking for something to extend their educational experience and their music and creativity. And that was sort of really at the heart of my reason for wanting to have a group like this. Not to say goodbye to anybody.
Well, also it's something that's definitely needed in Santa Cruz, and I guess anywhere in the school systems these days, but especially in Santa Cruz. And I find that true with our own community TV station here. I teach at Cabrillo, and it's really nice to have a place for my students to go to continue their education. So you set this up to be that for musicians and choral.
Well, I'm a product of the public school system. Grew up around the Chicago area, and we had an amazing high school and college programs, theater, art, drama, the music and that sort of thing. And so, but once you get out of school, what do? As long as you're in the institution, you're a part of that group, but you can only stay in until you graduate. And so this is kind of a logical extension of a creative, the skill that, the high school, college, they're training you to do something with your music. And I think we're a really good answer for that.
And in fact, you did a song, is it World of Many Colors?
Well, we've done several songs. The one song that I did with the Aptos High School is Shake This World. And, it's kind of an expose concept piece based on a song that I wrote called Shake This World. But, we were looking at the budget cuts in the educational system, and It's kind of unfortunate that some of the music instruments were, in deterioration and those kinds of things. There's no budget to fix them. We started looking around and that sort of thing, and the kids, we decided to do this project in the spring. And so we recorded this song. Vanessa's a featured vocalist on it. We just decided to do this thing, and so that's what you're going to see here in a few minutes.
Okay,
I think,
so now let's look at Shake This World.
Catch the flame. Peace won't come if we stay the same. And don't take nothing. Leave no stone unturned on the road back to our love. Every fiber, every nerve, we gotta shake this world. Shake this world with a song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Cast asunder these chains of war. We need a little mercy and relief. One love. Can we start over with a brand new heart? We gotta get down on our knees. Every moment, every day, we gotta shake this world. Shake this world with the song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Shake this world with a song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Oh, sun, shine on these two tired hearts. Prevail, truer than true, lighter than light. Yeah, we gotta shake this world with a song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Shake this world with a song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Shake this world with a song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Shake this world with the song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Shake this world with a song of peace. Shake this earth with the power of love. Shake this world with peace, sweet peace.
Okay, so now let's talk about your new upcoming event, which is December 11th at the Rio,
Yeah.
and that's World of Many Colors.
Yeah, it's the title for the concert. It's sort of a fun thing, but it's based around another original song that I wrote that has orchestra and choir. I was thinking about the beauty of world music and the different styles that come together. And I've had people ask me, well, what kind of world music do you do? And I really, it's hard to describe that because I take from a variety of cultures in my writing, and it seems like the world is many colors. It's a tapestry, different cultures, different disciplines. You know, India has a very distinct sound. You have the classical side of things. You have the pop sound of things. South America has a very interesting Baroque history. If you listen to any of that music, it's chilling, beautiful. I'm very influenced by the African music. I've been listening to a group called Tanarawen and some of the Mali freedom music. Celtic music, definitely. Obviously, because it's choral literature, I'm very influenced through the Western civilization music. So my goal is to kind of pull all those elements together and make a new kind of music. I'm not trying to be one or the other. So it's sort of an amalgam of different styles. And that's kind of what World of Many Colors is. It's a sort of an epic piece, I guess. It kind of goes through a variety of emotions and that sort of thing. So.
Well, this really defines how you are very different from, let's say, Santa Cruz Chorale or Santa Cruz Symphony. You are your own emphasis.
We're different in a lot of ways. One is, you know, while we are a community group and we do practice and learn proper vocal and instrumental techniques, you know, it's not just a pop group. You know, we don't just sing any old way. We really do work on our vocal technique and that sort of thing. It's very different in that the group is designed to be a choir and an orchestra. It's not just one or the other. Many of the singers are also in the orchestra. And it's, you know, it's intended to give folks like Terrell and Michael, Vanessa and Beth opportunity to use their instruments and their voices to sing together. It's also very social. That is much like other community groups. But I think the one thing that sets our group apart is our intent. It will be eventually to be completely original music. That is my goal as a composer, and so I think that is the one thing that sets us apart. We do some ancient, modern, you know, mix of music. We're doing some pieces which you'll hear in a minute of composers in the world right now. But eventually, those pieces will be replaced by works that I write.
Okay.
So it's kind of exciting for me.
Okay, especially because you have this whole group of people now that you've formed to work with you. So let's start with Vanessa. So Vanessa, it sounds like you're a student at Aptos High School, and
I'm a student at Cabrillo College this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's my first year at Cabrillo College, and I'm loving the music program there.
Okay, but you're also in the choir.
I am also
you're
in the
doing both.
community choir, and it's a much different experience working in the school choirs and then working in a community choir. And speaking as a community choir member, as one of Stephen's members of his choir, it's a really inspirational place to be. And Stephen is all about the community and just bringing all walks of life together to sing. And there's nothing like it. And I'm so fortunate to be in that choir, and I'm really enjoying myself.
Oh, great. And you were even asking for more people to join, I believe. We had put up a notice in our last show.
Yeah, there for a while. We had a call for auditions, and we did get quite a few new singers, so it's kind of exciting.
Okay.
Vanessa has been in it since the beginning, so
Yep,
it's cool.
been in there a while.
Well,
Yeah,
it sounds
awesome.
like you're one of the people that he didn't want to leave.
That's correct.
Yeah, I stuck it out with
Yeah.
him, definitely. I know when I sang with him at Aptos and he was saying that he wanted to do a community thing, I was totally on board for that. I thought that sounded like a great experience. And you know, just staying involved in the community is something that I've always been about, and getting the community members together like that is really powerful, and we all have a really good time.
Oh, great. Are you from Santa Cruz?
I am from Santa Cruz, yep. I've lived here since I was 3, and I went to Aptos High, and that's where I met Stephen, and yeah, moved on into Cabrillo, and it's great. I love it here.
Okay, and Beth, how about you? Did you always sing, or did Stephen just rap you and you had to come involved?
Well, I think a lot of my singing came from church choirs, and that's a lot of my background. And later in life, there was a point where, you know, I really picked up the piano again that I'd learned as a child, picked up the violin again because I'd learned that as a child, and wanted just to have that outlet in my life. You know, you have your busy day and your day jobs and all that, and it was nice to just have that and use the creative side of your brain again, you know, in music. And the other thing I picked up then too was vocal. Like I said, I'd done a lot with church choirs for most of my life, and so it was fun singing in the shower was about it later on in life. But I decided also when I took piano and violin, I was taking lessons, I thought, you know, I know there's something with all the singing I did in church. I want to go find out what the technique is behind it, and maybe I can improve. Well, I did that probably about 5 years just before I met Stephen, and then I meet this oak of a music man, and you know, he is so gifted with his skill and his talents in music. So it was great. I mean, I just jumped on the bandwagon, and
well, how could
he's
you not?
taken me
His
along.
vision is
yes.
so inspiring. How could you not?
Exactly. And you know, the other thing I want to say too, you know, we talked about, we're talking about the world of many colors, and that's kind of been something almost iconic with us because, you know, it's the different colors and the music that we bring together and sing. But what Stephen has also done with the choir is not only has it been an extended vehicle for people like Vanessa, who he knew from Aptos, but he incorporated the student with the parent, you know, and so it's ages of, you know, your high school ages up through the parent, the child, the student, the teacher. And so there's another flavor of many colors that our choir represents, you know, and they're all getting a chance to come out, and they're learning technique from Stephen and performing at the Rio. You know, it's great. It's a great community experience.
I'd like to add to that too. One of the things that was a benefit, and you know, this will bring Terrell into the conversation a little bit, is that it's a great opportunity for teachers to bring students in to the group. You know, you take a private lesson and that's all you get. But with the orchestra, the plan over the next 5 years is to have more teachers involved in the orchestra, and then as a part of their lesson plan, they have one of their gifted students come in and participate in that sort of thing. And so I think that's a really I think that's a unique sort of approach to growing, you know, this program, but also to growing in an answer to some of the budget cuts in education. I think there's a lot of uncertainty out there right now, but I think that more and more groups like ours, based around people who who want to do a variety of things, those kinds of things you're going to see more and more of this sort of format. You know, as budgets get cut, and as I think the parents still want their kids to learn music. It's still a very social art. It's not something you do in your room on your computer, you know, singularly. You come together, you have, you know, rehearsal, we laugh, we have a great time, we have a project to work on, and I see that as being kind of the future of music and art education.
And you had mentioned earlier to me that you're trying to encourage the people that are singing to also play instruments. So it's to get not the choir here and the orchestra here, but to have them to be the same.
Right. It was a little more divided last year, but Terrell's our poster child for singer, musician.
Okay.
And yeah, in order to kind of tighten up the tribe a little bit, it's really cool to have people who are in the choir because I get to spend more time with them that way. But also it keeps everybody, we can kind of know what we're doing as opposed to having just musicians. And we do have folks who play, the concertmaster, Laurel Thompson, a very gifted violinist. She's not in the choir, but maybe someday she will be. But yeah, that collaboration between the two things, and you know, of course, the choir does shrink when the orchestra plays with us, but you know, eventually, you know, in time, we'll have enough people that it won't even hardly be noticeable.
How many people are in the group altogether?
We have 30 voices at this time, and I think it's 15 people in the orchestra. So those overlap a little bit, and I don't have that figure, you know, off the top of my head. But.
Okay, so let's see a little bit of World of Many Colors.
Now this is live from the Rio, our last concert in December of last year. And I would like to point out that this was our very first concert together, and I'm really proud of the result that we got in 3 months of working together. And it's an original piece, and it was filmed live at the Rio.
Okay, we'll see that right now.
The world is a coat of many colors.
Terrell, Eaton. You are the poster child, as we hear, for being
Sorry
both a musician and a choral singer. So what do you like to do best?
I like to do both best. I guess my background is a little more emphasis on playing. I'm a saxophone and flute player primarily, but I've always loved to sing from when I was a little kid. And one of the things I really enjoy about this project is the fact that I get to do both. Stephen is a wonderful musician, wonderful composer, inspiring community builder, and just we're in a rock band together. Can I give Levi's Ghost a plug?
Levi's Ghost.
and yeah, we became very good friends when we overlapped at Aptos High. I taught music in the Power Valley District for 25 years, and then 2 years ago they cut out pretty much all the music programs and everybody got laid off. Well, the last few. That was the year that Stephen came to Aptos High, and we became good friends because we were in part commiserating about the situation musically there. Vanessa is a product of kind of a last gasp of a really quality program there. Mary Pizzoni's legendary choir program. Vanessa got a good formative
Thank you, Mary.
start.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's still, there's a young lady I think doing one choir class there, but most of the core of it is still people that started under Mary Pizzoni, and there's no feeder program.
Yeah.
So the situation there is pretty grim. And of course, public education in general, particularly regarding the arts, I could do a whole program's worth of rant on that. But
Well, let's see now.
Yeah.
You've been a teacher. You've been a teacher. You've been a student. Beth, were you a teacher?
I was not a teacher. I had been, I'm still a Silicon Valley Madness participator.
Okay. So I'm a teacher, and yes, the cutbacks. Ooh. So thank you for having this group to at least have the musicians and the, to be able to go somewhere.
Well, Beth and I kind of joke around about being the FedEx of the music program. When the government stops funding programs that they have traditionally for years and years and years, the private sector kind of takes over, and this is while it may not feel like that yet, maybe down the road the next 5 years. As I said, there'll be other groups doing this, but it'll be more of a feasible commercial endeavor than it is right now. But.
On to Michael here, Michael Loeb. So I know you're involved with several groups and technology and music. So what brings you to this group?
The Ugly Mug. I was sitting in the Ugly Mug one day, and I hear Stephen talking to somebody, and they're talking about choirs and about how do you market a choir, and what is today's audience and how do you find them? And me being me, I introduced myself and started a friendship with Stephen. And we just started to talk about how could two groups grow one audience? Because we're not competing for singers, we're not competing for audience members.
Just to let people know that you are also in Santa Cruz
I sing
Chorale.
in the Santa Cruz Chorale. I've been with them about 7 or 8 years. I'm on the board. I've been a choral singer for 40 years or so. Yeah, I know.
Never stopped.
No, I took a year or two off in there, but a lot of it it's sad to watch, because when I went to high school, first you had, like they described, the feeder music programs, and kids learned the basics of singing. Stand up straight, sit on the edge of your seat, pay attention, don't cross your legs, spit out the gum. All of that stuff, and
Exactly.
they don't get taught that anymore.
Technical.
Yeah,
Right.
That's good.
it's like I watch people I sing with in the chorale who are good singers, and I don't see but half of them really practice good singing etiquette that you would have learned in junior high school and high school and in all of the kind of programs, So, and then the other thing that I do for my day job is music technology products, and working with Stephen, I have this opportunity to really bridge these two worlds, where Stephen, we can talk about, certain compositional techniques that this guy used in that mass and how it's, reflected in this thing over there, and then, figure out why his Pro Tools system isn't working. or introduce. I have some instruments here just to show that combine my love of technology, and then when that gets older, the computer crashes, and I pull out the wooden flute.
So it's sort of the old and the new, and
yeah, it's
modern
all musical technology.
Right. And we're going to be incorporating some of these really unique experimental music instruments in compositions that I'm writing, and in transitions between the songs and that sort of thing, so that that's why I asked Michael to bring some of the stuff. This 4-chamber wooden flute is very intriguing to me. It's in a very strange key, but,
Well,
but
let's
it's
hear
really
it
cool.
now.
Play a little bit.
So, typically, they're referred to as Native American style flutes because of the way they work, instead of like a transverse flute where you have to split the air column yourself. And this type of flute, they do it for you, and that's what happens here. And this flute is made out of a block of alder wood that somebody must have had a really big drill press, and then just drilled out these 4 chambers in here. And one chamber has 5 available notes. And then there's one with 3.
Who wouldn't want to write something that incorporates that? I'm
Right.
serious.
You.
Yeah. Actually, it's
I'm
very
not going to ask him to
visual,
play an
too.
A flat, though, I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's like I don't have to know how to play it in any other keys than the one you'd play. Sorry. That's it.
That's
you
what
know.
transposition
So, but that is an ancient
Well,
flute.
this is a modern take on an ancient instrument, where they used to call them courting flutes. You'd find that girl in the other tribe next door that you wanted to get to know better, and you'd go and you'd find yourself a branch and make a flute, and hopefully she liked what you played on it.
That's how we met.
There you go.
Okay, and then you have
And
kind
this
of the
other
modern.
thing is called an eigenharp. The company's out of the UK, and they appeared on the scene about 3 years ago. And the idea was that, there's only so much you can do by modeling instruments after their analog predecessors, with keys and stuff like that. And so what we have here is a bunch of keys that are pressure sensitive as well as positionally sensitive. So I can, hit this and then move my finger around and have that apply vibrato or other things. And it has what's called a ribbon controller, which I can move my finger down and cause events to happen. And it has a breath pipe. So it looks like, a melodica.
Well, let's hear it.
Hear it, let's see. So,
Wow.
Love it.
So there's a great depth of programming which I know nothing about yet. But I made friends with the guy who's their lead software programmer. They've made the programming language open source and stuff. And the potential is huge, being able to morph between sounds by moving my
love that.
fingers like this or
Yeah,
like that, doing different things with it and stuff.
it's beautiful.
So the opportunity to combine, essentially the very first instrument, the human voice, and the history that goes along with compositions for that with these other things is brand new for me. So I really appreciate that, and Stephen's become a great friend.
And I mean, that's just so amazing that, you could hear all new different sounds in this little instrument. And then you could write to it.
I hope to.
Best part about this is that, like this, it only plays in one key. With this thing, I can tell it exactly what key and scale I need it to play next. As opposed to trying to figure out, okay, now this is that note, that would make this a fourth above that note.
Wow.
That would be major seventh, but
amazing.
There should be a class just in that one
Yeah,
instrument. You have several other pieces that you brought in terms of videos.
Yeah, interesting segue to the next piece, which would be Desh, which is an Indian rag. Desh is the name of the scale, and I'm still learning about this culture's music. It's very beautiful and haunting. Eventually, we want to have all original music in our program. I would love to write things like that. So part of my education is to study the music or the scales of that culture and incorporate not just the theory, but the instruments. And there's a spirituality to the music, which I really appreciate.
There's particular scales for particular times of year, particular times of day, stuff like that. And that's a technology that they just worked out over years, or somehow gleaned from the natural world around them, and then said, oh, okay, you know what, Wednesday, raining morning, oh, it's this scale. Because they're working with much larger scales, because for us as Westerners, we hear half steps. And if something's not a half step, then it's out of tune. Whereas in many other cultures, there's 5 different notes in that half step that I'm hearing as a Westerner. And so they're much more oriented to things melodically that go across time. And the Western ear is really oriented to chords and things that happen like this.
So Terrell, actually being that you're one of the main musicians originally in this group, can you adapt your instruments to this music?
I think so. So far, most of the stuff Stephen's written has been pretty traditionally orchestral in that it didn't get into microtonality and things like Michael was referring to.
Not intentionally, anyway.
You're right. Yeah. We still occasionally get, that's a little out of tune.
Yeah, that's a little.
I was just playing in microtones, man. Too high res for you?
Yeah, too high res.
But, yeah, and one of the things I really enjoy about the project is the fact that Stephen, he's global to the max. I mean, in terms of bringing in tunes from other cultures, and I can see that manifesting in his writing, in his composing. Things like World of Many Colors, there's some interesting scales in there, and a lot of interesting rhythmic stuff, and it's interesting to see the influences of this kind of global perspective that he has on his composing and on what the choir gets to do and the orchestra.
Because you play with other bands that are international sounding bands. However, I guess this is more of an extension of other areas that you wouldn't normally play.
I share Stephen's curiosity and interest in other musical cultures, and it seems like a natural.
Yeah, it's an infinite study.
Yeah.
The other thing that I really like that I'm watching happen here too is this is just full joy for me to be able to listen to Michael talk about his perspectives, and Terrell and Vanessa. I mean, I get to work with these folks. I get to watch this happen. It's like an added byproduct of happiness for me, because I get to watch it happen. I don't really have to do anything.
Well, I think there's more to it than that. You're curating the space that it's happening in.
Well, it's going to happen. Vanessa's involved in the healing arts music, and we just discovered that here at this table tonight, was that Michael's into that sort of thing, and Vanessa has been working. Where are you working?
I recently just got a job as an intern at People's Integrative Medicine and Acupuncture over on Gross Road off of 41st, and they're a brand new community medical clinic that offers alternative medicine, anything from naturopathic doctors to massage therapists to acupuncturists, medical qigong, and it's really integrated with Western modalities and alternative modalities. And they've given me the opportunity to study up on sound therapy and healing through music, which I never really I mean, I was always interested in, but I never really saw that as like a future for me, just because I was never introduced to it in my education. And so the founders, Danielle Ucez and Lashana Trillium, are very inspirational in that way and allowing me to be creative with what I can do for the community, just like Stephen does.
So would you be creating music for that kind of healing then? Is
I
that
do
maybe
have
a pop-
some interest in that, and especially now, well, that's something that Michael and I have talked about. My publishing company is Rock Arbor Music, and there are a variety of kinds of music that we can create through that, and there's definitely a desire, from me to create that sort of positive and reinforcement, healing. I mean, we all are affected by a song or a melody or a lyric, a poem, or something like that. And so there's that intrinsic value, but there's also the scientific sort of approach that where you study. I have a friend, Brad Paulson, who they bought a bunch of medical equipment just so that study the body brain waves and the EKG and all this stuff, so they can compose music that actually aids in relaxation, which I could use, and healing and those sorts of things. So this is a kind of a byproduct of hey, let's have a choir and an orchestra, but it's the individual people who are creative, intelligent. They're coming to the table with their particular gifts, and I just get to watch it happen. I get to play and all that, and it's really, really exciting too for me.
There's actually another thing I was thinking too, because as you were playing, that sound was, both instruments, the old and the new, were very visual to me. Of course, I'm a visual person, so I was thinking, I'm just completely visually, and so there's a concept here that you're combining all these different world sounds and all these new instruments with the old, that you could actually, create new thoughts, like new feelings, new thoughts.
Sure. And then the beautiful thing about it being creative art is that individuals who are normally, like if you give a choir, it's kind of like the faceless, massless group, but in this sort of collaborative, which is really what it is, you have the opportunities to bring these different things, and who knows where we'd be in 10 years, what our performances would look like. And I think it's the edge of the future. I really do, and I'm learning that every day. We come to choir rehearsal, we have a great time, but there's all these other things that are happening as a part of our action in the universe to make them happen, and then sort of synergistically kind of grows and spins and that sort of thing.
Have you heard or connected with other people in other places that are doing anything similar?
In a sort of roundabout way, that is definitely one of my hopes, is to connect with maybe particularly a musician, say in Africa, who is doing this kind of thing. We can collaborate. Internet, 21st century rocks for this, and the collaboration part of it is definitely something I'd like to entertain, and then maybe do an actual performance there or here or that sort of thing. I don't know. It's kind of
simulcast.
It's kind of or even be there, too. But that's the simulcast thing.
You're the first one to do this. So.
I don't know, Peter Gabriel or somebody like that. They do that sort of thing. But I think that's he's definitely on the frontier of the kind of music that I'd like to do. I have a very strong classical background, so there's going to always be that sort of understanding, but as I learn, I got to use new technique, so a new scale or whatever.
Is it difficult coming from a regular choral background of Western music to suddenly reach out into these other tones to sing?
Well, I've always had the classical training. You get the music and you learn it, and then you play it. And then you go to the next one, and you learn those notes, and you play it. And Stephen has been great because he is bending me out of that rigid mode and making and doing improv. Or, you know, where we would get together in the studio and we start some chords and some music going, and we all start harmonizing with it and doing our own creative thing. Yeah. So I'll have my violin out, and I'm used to put the music out and I'll play the notes. And now it's like, no, listen to what, you know, he's got me listening to the bass notes and, you know, different chord sounds, and using a number scheming with me to teach, but taking me out of that and pushing me into something that is just let the creative juices flow and let that happen. And it's been interesting for me. I get brief experiences of freedom. You know, it's taking me out of that rigid thing of just note after note after note, and then now I know that one song. You know, it's like, wow, we're making up new stuff, and I'll go to bed that night and go, you know, I could have done this and that, you know, and I even tell them too the next day, you know, next time let me try to do this, and you know, I'll go over this route and try something new with what we're doing, and you know, and so it's been neat. It's been very, it's like I said, it's really pushed me to just let the creativity side come out and not just play something written on a piece of paper that somebody wrote. I'm actually going beyond that, and so
Okay.
I'm still working hard at it, but it's fun.
I've had people in my life, classically trained pianists, who would look at what I did to sitting at the keyboard and were totally envious, where I was envious of their ability to sight read anything you could put in front of them. You know, and at some point, those two skill sets diverged, but they used to be one. So back in the Baroque era, they would have improvisation competitions where they'd give a guy a bass line and say, okay, make me a fugue, you know, right now on the spot, you know, and people like Mozart and others, they could sit there and do it, and here comes the second theme and stuff like that, you know, and it's just, I think, really being in touch in a different way with where music lives.
It's more holistic.
Exactly. And I think that that's something about Stephen, how he really values the individual's holistic role in his vision. And his progressive outlook is what I would say, branching off of what Beth said, is more enlightening than, as you would say, difficult. Stephen really allows for, you know, you to be, you know, creative and work with him. And so it's not difficult. It's more freedom. As I say.
And I have this great perspective. The other choir I sing with, the chorale, our conductor, he was the conductor for 25 years of the German state choir, and that choir was founded in 1425.
Wow.
You know, so here's this lineage holder of a completely different way, and yet my experience as a musician interacting with him, it's one of the highlights of my life, you know, because that's really choral singing as a high art, you know, and he's weaned us from the piano, and so now as a choir we sing much more in tune because the piano is essentially equally out of tune everywhere, whereas, you know, the real intervals that people would sing that naturally fall as part of the harmonic progression, they resonate differently. They resonate the audience differently, they resonate the singer differently. So, you know, this great juxtaposition of experience of being able to sing all sorts of different music that, you know, is choral in nature, apply different things that I do with that, and, you know, still do the thing that is a much more traditional thing.
Yeah, and I'd like to point out too that we really value that the Santa Cruz Chorale's contribution to the community. That kind of music is, I mean, that is deeply embedded in my soul, and, you know, Vanessa really, you know, we resound with that serious music side, and one of the goals that we had as a group was to help support some of the other community groups instead of it being competition or stealing, you know, choir members or stealing audience members. I think the beauty is, and I'm really glad
Choir
that Michael.
smackdown.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, it gets that way. It feels that way sometimes.
My conductor can beat up your conductor.
Yeah, you probably can. But the beauty is that we can support each other. We both have different roles in the community, both in the music world, but yet there's things that we can each learn from each other.
Well, I know my audience, as the chorale, will grow because of singing with Stephen. Not only will he come to the concerts, right?
Absolutely.
But
I even join
other
the choir.
people in the choir will,
Right.
And then there's another thing that you touched on that actually New Music Works this last month touched on, is creating that new audience, is finding how this music connects with the people that don't normally connect to this
How do you
kind
be
of music.
relevant?
Exactly.
Well, that is a really important feature of what we're trying to do, and I like to, point to the movie industry. A lot of times, in the choirs that I've been a part of, and especially in the nonprofit sector, we're begging for money. Please, we can't come back again unless we do, get your support. And I don't see that correlation in the movie industry. We go to see the movie like Avatar because it gives us something. We go to be entertained. We go to get something. We're not going, oh gosh, the movie industry is going to go out if we don't support it. And
Right.
I go to that theater, that movie, to be entertained. I walk away with something, whatever it is. It's either amusement or entertainment, and that's something that I'm trying to understand, I think, a little bit more in terms of the audience that we're reaching out to. We're not necessarily trying to tap into the standard choral classical audience. I believe there are things in our performances that they would appreciate and understand and really like. But I think one of our cosmic goals is to increase the number of people who appreciate a variety of musics, and that's why I'm kind of adamant about choir and orchestra, is because it's even though that sounds real classical,
And then also film.
yeah. So there's a lot of collaboration in the disciplines, the artistic disciplines. At some point, we're going to have dancers and fire eaters and Cirque de Santa Cruz.
You mentioned Cirque du
I
Soleil.
tried to. One of my tech kids, his sister is one of the aerial acrobat. They use the beautiful rope or whatever, the satin or whatever. And of course, for insurance purposes, they won't let us do that. But I'm gonna get something in there. At some point, some way, I'm gonna try to get some acrobatics or other things. But that's really what we're looking for is to collaborate with other groups that are trying to do the same thing. Increase, as Michael said, increase our audience, increase the understanding, the appreciation. So it's like, oh yeah, it's a choir. Oh, come here, sing.
Well, yeah, you know what it is? It's we've talked about, people think, like you said, choir and orchestra. It's like, oh, okay, we'll go listen to the choir, like a recital type environment. We want to redefine it.
Absolutely.
So that you come in and it is an experience. And already he's got some great new ideas for what we're going to do in December.
Won't believe it.
Hooray.
Won't believe what we're going to do.
And what
No,
was
but
that thing?
it's more of an experience. It's not sitting there going, okay, now we're going to sing this song for you. And now we're going to sing this song for you. It's not like that. It's like when you go to Cirque du Soleil. It's been an inspiration to us. We've gone to Cavalier, we've gone to things, like Mystère and stuff, and you sit there and there's this beautiful classical thing going on, but there's a worldly thing going on, and there's visual and, musical stimulation.
It's like, how do you find people who are looking for an uplifting, interactive experience that this represents?
I think the whole thing of the youth, let's say the Burning Man consciousness, is interactive.
Absolutely,
It is,
yeah.
The Cirque du Soleil thing. It isn't just sitting there. It is participating.
My
It's being part of that
22-year-old
environment.
daughter just invited my 83-year-old mother to Burning Man next year.
Nice.
So I think the audience is there, and I think they're looking for something other than just entertainment. You had said entertainment before, and I think that what you're creating is something beyond entertainment.
I don't think entertainment's a bad word. I think it's been used negatively, but it really, it's you're walking away with something without having to open a book. Okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this. Okay, I'm going to do this and do this. You go and it's an experience, and you walk away, and you're changed. You're different. You feel different. You feel better or worse, depending. And it's something that happens to you as opposed to you sitting down and I'm going to learn a new language today. So
Yeah,
that's what
right.
I want to do, is blur the boundaries of, well, this is classical, this is choir, this is. It shouldn't be about whether it's a choir or an orchestra or a rock band or a chamber ensemble. It should be good
Everything.
music, beautiful music, wonderful presentation, interesting, relevant, all those things. And I think that's the value, and then we take that into our lives, and it should affect us. I have to say this, before choir rehearsal and orchestra rehearsals, I'm always nuts. I just get this, angst, and I don't know why. I've done it my entire life. But as soon as everybody starts walking in, hey, and then, we launch into it, but before I know it, it's over, and I walk out of there 3 feet, 10 feet, whatever, off the ground. And
It's like doing the show at the beginning.
Exactly. You
compared to
dread it,
being
dread
on
it. But you don't know why. It's supposed to be fun. But then when it's over, on the ride home, I was like, oh, man, that was great. Did you hear that? And so, in terms of the performance, that's got to impact the audience, as they come in. And I really do kind of beat you guys over the head to really think about what you're singing, even though we're singing like this song, Pengyo Ting. We're singing in Chinese. We really...
Which is the next song on the list.
Yeah, you'll get a chance
Okay.
to listen to that.
Yeah, tell me about that one.
Do we really actually know exactly every word? Well, this one has it actually written into the music, but I think we think about the spirit of what it's portraying, and instead of just concentrating besides our pearl-shaped tones, and we think about the message and delivery of what we're putting forth, and that definitely has an impact on an audience. And that's our focus, is the audience. It's not, hey, come hear us. It's, hey, come experience something, get something.
Right.
And yet it's a traditional Chinese melody.
This is Pengyo Ting. It's very beautiful. It's a very different way to use consonants. It's really kind of a cool exercise for us to adjust from the Western sort of way that we do diction. We really do work on trying to appreciate the dialect, and it's like we should sing it like we love the words. It's one of the things I love about Italian. They love the words. They just roll around in their mouths. And American, we're just doing it to communicate.
Was there any sax in that one? No, I'm kidding.
No sax.
Last December, I mostly sang, played on some things, but I think the playing side of it is going to probably expand.
Now, just the joke of thinking of mixing the instruments like this. I mean, can you play sax on a Chinese song?
Sure.
Well, he's kind of pushed me to soprano, which is one of the saxophones that I own one, but I've always sort of kind of kept it in the closet. But he found out about it and made me drag it out, and now I'm digging it. And,
Oh, yeah.
and,
It's a great
yeah.
sound.
So I think he's
Another
gonna-
soprano
I
out
think
of
he's
the closet.
integrating. Yeah, right. he's integrating that in quite a
Family
bit.
show.
One of the things about what Stephen was talking about the actual languages that we sing, more and more it's clear that we live in a world of intention, and that so much of how we affect the world is really because of what we're intending. And so by really understanding the words that we're singing and doing our best to live within the meaning and stuff like that. You know, they call music the carrier wave of consciousness,
Nice.
you know, and that there's a lot about who you are as an individual and what you're trying to bring forth that rides out on that sound. So I think that that's important.
See what I get to be around?
Yeah, and I would totally expand off of that. I completely agree with what you're saying, and like what Stephen was saying about our rehearsals and stuff, it's really about the journey, and you can really see how hard we work in our performances. You really can. Speaking as a choir member, it really does show, Stephen.
It sounds like perfect last comments. Any other last comments?
No, come to our show at the Rio Theater. It's a great venue for what we're doing.
So that's December 11th?
December 11th,
Okay.
7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Tickets are available in advance through the Rio site and at Streetlight Records, and you can get them online or just come and enjoy it
Okay,
at the door.
and look for more things coming up this year. You have a couple things that you'll be doing?
Next spring is going to be a little different for us. I know that we're tentatively booked for the Rejuve Festival, which is more of a world music festival. We're actually going to try to do a street performance in Santa Cruz on December 4th, Sunday afternoon, weather permitting. So we're just going to walk out and do a guerrilla performance. I will not wear a gorilla suit, but we're gonna try to do some more of those kinds of things, be more in the community, and as people get to know us and see the value of what our music can do for their program and for their benefits. You know, that's what we really do want to benefit the community and that sort of thing. So, you know, our venues will be growing as we grow. So,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
thanks
great.
for the opportunity to come and talk. And
Oh, sure. Well, thank
this
you.
is great. I learned a lot today. I don't know
Oh,
about you
good.
guys.
I know.
Yeah.
Great, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you also for being a station supporter.
Yeah,
Stephen Bigger has supported the station with his contributions.
it's a great thing.
And thank you to all of my station supporters for In the Loop. And if you would like to be a station supporter, contact me at Denise at video4.biz. So we hope to see you at our next show coming up. And if you would like to see past shows that we have done, please go to the download that you see on the end of this show. I'd like to thank Community TV, Ron Powell for directing the show, Suzanne Dyer, Matilda Rand, Dave Gibson, Karen Scott on character generator, and Paul Logan on audio.